The world provides us with treasures. There are treasures that you can't buy. And equally at the same time, there are treasures that if I was to show you what's in this box, I would say countless people would say that, what's the big deal? It's nothing of substance. But I'm going to share with you that what's inside of here was bought with persistence, overcoming obstacles, and avoiding the noise. It prompted me to then start writing a book about a personal journey that I took about 15 years ago. I went to India in search of my roots. Because what happened is my grandfather left the state of Punjab when he was like 18, 19 years old, had a disagreement with his family, decided he was leaving. Went from the Punjab to Calcutta, hopped on a steamer ship, was going to Argentina, the boat stopped at Fiji, he got off and said, this looks like a beautiful place. And that's how our family started in Fiji. And then my father and his siblings were born, and then my father moved to England as a family. I was born in England. We then migrated to Vancouver when I was a wee lad. But growing up, I was Canadian, but I didn't have my other identity. And I think many of us can relate to this, in that there is a part of us that sits there that needs to be realized sometimes. So I asked my father, I said, what can you tell me about my roots? What can you tell me about grandfather's house? He said, you know what, all I can tell you is, the name of the village is Chadori. It's 5 miles from the post office at Garshankar, and the district is Hoshiarpur. So modern technology, Google it. I could find Hoshiarpur, but there was no Chadori. And I thought, oh. But what was really fascinating and interesting is when I started on this journey, people started creating some noise. You're wasting your time. You're not going to find this village. If you find this village, they're going to be thinking that you want the land, and they're not going to give you a hospitable welcome. So I was starting to hear this noise, but I persisted. And I started asking around, and people could tell me about Garshankar, the post office, but nobody had heard of Chadori. And I'm thinking, this is futile. But I told myself I'm going to India with my wife, and I'm going to go search for my village. Now, India is a large country. Back then it was maybe 1 billion people. Get off the plane, Mr. Singh, right? That's everybody. Anyway, so I started doing my research, my background, and actually what happened was 2 days before I left, so actually a week before I left, my cousin in California and I were speaking because his father, my dad's older brother, had gone to the village numerous times. But he died 25 years earlier, and nobody actually got the information about our village from him. So I asked my cousin, I said, do you know anything? He said, Sam, actually, I don't know anything about it. I was only 4 years old. But 2 days before I left for India on this epic journey, he sent me this photograph. People from my village. And this is all I had to go by. So here I visit India, I visit the Taj Mahal, I go to Amritsar, I visit all of these places, and it's my first experience in India. And that was overwhelming, but in such an amazing way. The sights, the sounds, the flavors, it was magnificent. But lying within me was the noise. Can I do this? Will I do this? But a day before I left, a cousin of mine from Fiji sent me an email and he said, Sam, I understand you're going to India to find your roots, find the village. I made it to Garshankar. I didn't find the village, but it's Janodi. So I thought, okay. So I went to Google and I went to Hoshiarpur. And there's no Janodi, but there was a village called Jandoli. Jandoli. And I thought, it's close enough. Maybe over time the name has changed. And it's only 5 miles from Garshankar. My father said, I think this is it. Now, I could find Jandoli on the map, so we went to India and did our journey. Now we head up to the Punjab, and I've only got 2 days to find my village. So as we drive along, the first day, we drive through Garshankar, we drive to Jandoli, and we come to a house. And there's like 10 people sitting there, and we meet them. We walk up and show them the picture. It's like me coming to your house and saying, are you part of my family? And they looked at it and said, you know, actually, I don't know about the house, but the person in the back looks like so-and-so, and his house is up this way. 2 people got in our truck and we drove to this house. 10 people gathered around and they looked at the picture. They said, no, this isn't the right house. And as a result, but somebody said, I think that house is over this way. 2 people got in our truck. We drive to another place. 10 people gathered around and they were like, no, this isn't the right house, but the person in the back looks like so-and-so. We did this 5 times. What we found out is Janoli, beautiful people, wrong village. And they were so warm to us that they said, look, we appreciate your journey. If you cannot find your village, come back and spend time with us tomorrow. Become our village. And it was very heartwarming. And I went back to my hotel. And I phoned my father. And I told him I tried my best. And my father said, look, you've done more than what anyone has ever attempted. Enjoy India. But there's 2 reasons why this was critically important to me. The first was the fact that if I don't do this, and it skips 1 more generation, this is gone forever. And I was not going to have this on me. The second thing is my father, when I was 9 years old, became a paraplegic. And he's done so much for me. And he's never been to India. And I know he is never going to India. I needed to do this for him. So the next day, my driver came back. What do you want to do? I said, forget what everyone has said. Drive to Gaushankar. I want to talk to people. So we drive to Gaushankar. And as we drove there, I started asking people. And finally a man said, oh, Chadodi, it's 5 miles up this dirt road. And if you look at my journal, it says, here I go again, with a negative sense of, okay. So we get to this archway, and there's this old man. He looks like he fell off a charm bracelet, sitting there. And we show him the picture, and he looks and he goes, I don't know about the house, but the person in the back looks like so-and-so. He's very famous, obviously. And he gets into our truck. Well, of course he did. Everyone else did. And we drive to a house, and 10 people come out. And a lady suddenly comes out, and she looks at this and she goes, that's me. I found my grandfather's house because of persistence, avoiding the noise, and overcoming obstacles. It was that important that I went on this journey. And we hugged and we talked, and I learned so much about my grandfather, which even my parents weren't even aware. I learned about siblings, I learned about cousins that we didn't even know. And the reason I said that this is such an important treasure to me is because I took Ziploc bags with me to India in my pocket. Because what I wanted to do was go into the field and scoop up dirt for my dad. So he has my village, he has our village with him at all times. It was a special time. And I think that this is really important to share because I think there's a lot of people that have a journey, that have enough people telling you you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, and they'll give you enough reasons why not to. I want to write this book to say, yes, you can, yes, you will, and you must. Because if you don't, no one else will. Thank you.